We welcome Venerable Angie Muir from California this morning to lead the practice, so thank you so much.
Nice to see everyone, and a few of you I've seen before. Certainly Marion and Lou, we met at the puja last week. Maybe not Bren, Alexandra. Anyway, hi, welcome. Okay, so we're on 6:30, so I think we'll just start. So I thought, anyway, Venerable Doondrip sort of gave me an idea of what you usually do. As I say, I'm just trying to stick a little bit to what you usually do with Jeff, not do something too different, because I heard that you're going through karma with Jeff, all the different teachings and aspects of karma. So we try and stick with that this morning. So let's just take a moment to settle into our posture for meditation, or sorry, place that's comfortable that helps support the mind, keep it clear. So again, if you want, just scanning the body, using breath and awareness, a couple of deep breaths just to exhale any wind energy in the body that's not going to be supportive for keeping the mind clear. So maybe a couple of deep inhalation, exhalation. And using breath as our anchor, use going through the body from the crown all the way down for a minute, maybe just scanning the body and just bringing into the posture, ourselves into the posture, especially the straightness of the spine at the back from the sit bones all the way through the crown, just checking that and releasing and relaxing any tension as we move from the crown all the way down to the sit bones, to the tips of the toes with breath and awareness, covering the whole body. So we get grounded in the body for the practice. So let's also do, just to help clarify the mind a little bit more, we need that when we're doing more analytical meditation, mind to be clear, stable. Doing the 9 round breathing exercise, bringing the first finger of the right hand, closing off the left nostril, inhaling, long, slow, deep inhalation. If you want to combine it with light, visualizing light, and keeping that back of the throat, the jaw, everything soft. Inhaling through the right, exhaling through the left 3 times, just clearing again the winds in the body. And if we're familiar with a visualization, we can visualize the 3 channels. The light going up and down through that right channel, and exhaling stay layers black like black smoke clouds through the left nostril, that which is not serving us through the left. So doing inhale light through the right and sort of stale wind energy. Karma, that's the topic we're on, any kind of karmas, energies that are not supporting our practice through the left 3 times. And then same on the opposite side. Then light through both nostrils, going down both channels and entering in the central channel, if we know that, or just holding a little bit of light energy in the body and exhaling the stale winds on the exhalation. In that space, a little bit more clarity, allowing our motivation to arise, or trying to form that a little bit within the clarity. As we go through the Lam Rim, what we're trying to really formulate is this kind of spontaneous motivation to free ourselves from suffering and the causes of suffering. It's almost like we want all our actions to be guided by that motivation. It becomes an integral part of us. So that much more we study and reflect on the Lam Rim, all the different topics, that just naturally arises, and our day is guided by that motivation. And on top of that, as we go through the higher scope of the Lam Rim, we want to dedicate not just for ourselves, but we feel sensitive to all beings in a similar state. Not just that all beings are, maybe they're suffering from physical hardship, mental hardship. It's a heavier karma, but also feeling that all beings are under this deeper causes of suffering, karma and delusion. We want to gradually be able to feel and recognize that as we transform our own mind into the Lam, all the different topics of the Lam Rim. We feel it for ourselves, we feel it for all beings. And spontaneously, we want our mind, our life to be guided by that, to free ourselves and all beings for suffering and the causes of suffering. And bring all of us to this kind of sublime state of enlightenment. So, as our motivation, how wonderful it would be if I and all beings were free of suffering and its cause, karma and delusion. And how wonderful it would be if I can train my mind, have that ability to be able to free all beings from that just spontaneously, this mind to body chitta. Have the skill and ability and deep insight to be able to do that. So to do that today, we're going to just reflect a little bit on the nature of karma, as I think we've been doing with Jeff. Continue this transformation in the mind to having bodhicitta, We have to reflect on one of the main causes of suffering. One of the main causes is karma, the presence of um, contaminated karma in our mental continuum. And how karma becomes heavy. What causes our actions to become heavy in the mind? So, reading from the book that you've, Geshe Loden's book that you've been using with Jeff, an action performed again and again continually becomes heavy due to the repetition. A continuum of non-virtues established in each repetition adds to the karmic weight. So, example, killing karma, serial killer creates heavier karma than a person who only kills once. The continuous intention to constantly kill and harm others accumulates negative thoughts and actions, which progressively add more energy to each other. So, it kind of makes sense logically, and this is the same for all non-virtues. Although by nature not as heavy as killing, idle gossip can produce greater negative karma because for us, there's more tendency to repeat that. We may not be serial killers, but there's other actions within the 10 non-virtues that we tend to create more constantly. And it increases the weight in our mind. Like, it's a tricky one, idle gossip. And kind of in its purest definition, it means you're really just talking about things that don't have much meaning or are not dharma. So then we can see where we land there, with idle gossip. Talking about things that are not dharma, don't have any real meaning for ourselves and others. So let's take a moment to think about that. Each one of us will give us a few moments out of the virtues, non-virtues, with the body killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, with the speech, idle gossip, divisive speech, harsh speech, lying, or with the mind, more subtle and even more difficult to manage, ill will. So again, this is probably a hardest one. Covetousness, holding wrong views about karma and nature of reality. So what ones are, take a moment each of us to reflect, what ones maybe are a little bit heavier in the mind because we create them, even if it's not in a heavy way, but in a subtle way in our mind, that's going on. And even if it's subtle, it becomes more heavy due to the power of continuity, continually creating that reactions of our body, speech, and mind. So let's see what we feel without like being heavy on ourselves, but just looking clean, clear. What of these are heavier in our mind, these actions of our body, speech, and mind? Just contemplate that due to the power of doing it constantly. So perhaps we already have. So based on, some of the actions maybe we've discovered here that are heavier for us, the habits heavy in the mind. What are we doing to kind of lighten the weight of that karmic habit? Or what can we do to lighten the weight of that karmic habit? Because another aspect of being heavy, staying heavy in the mind, when see the example, His Holiness Lama Zopa Rinpoche, their minds are very, very light. It's like Rinpoche used the expression like cotton wool. When you purify the mind, when you reduce the intensity and the weight of these karmic habits, the nature of mind, ultimate nature of mind is light like cotton wool or like dough. We can turn it in any way, we can do whatever we want. It's like having dough in the hand, and you just press it and transform it into anything you want when it's very soft, flexible. So similarly, when we purify the mind of karmic stains, karmic imprints, negative ones, more we purify, the lighter the mind becomes. Like this ball of cotton wool or like dough. So how wonderful that would be if we all have that inner experience. But to get to that state, we need an opponent. We need something that's opposite or opposing these karmic habits. So that, again, we can reduce their intensity or weight in the mind. Because if a negative karma is not purified or has a strong opponent, it just increases in strength and the mind becomes heavier and heavier. So if you don't generate the main one, this sense of regret, so some of us are already doing this Vajrasattva practice, I think more daily. So we know what regret is. It's not feeling bad about ourselves, but it's recognizing the danger in negative actions, how they harm us, how they harm others, being very clear of their suffering nature. There is the karmic result for ourselves, and they continue to harm others as well if we create negative karma. And just having this clarity to want to purify, the need to purify. Just like we need air to breathe, just like we need food to survive, we need to purify the mind so it can breathe, so it can experience this lightness, this dough-like feeling, this cotton wool feeling, its ultimate nature. We need to release ourselves from karmic habits that are not serving us. So again, just take a moment to think about that. Just, no matter if we're a new practitioner, long-term practitioner, we continually have to think about karma and creating a space always to try to purify and correct our actions. This is ongoing for an inner being that we are, spiritual practitioner. So contemplate again karma, the actions that we really clear, even if they're not as strong as they used to be, have to continually create the energy and the wish to purify, have an opponent to them. Am I doing this? Lama Tisha, he was many of us have heard of Lama Tisha. So he really, through his kindness, he actually put the Lam Rim together for us, all these complex teachings that the Buddha gave, 84,000 sets of teachings, that there's no way we can manage that. So through his kindness, when he arrived in Tibet in the 11th century for the Tibetan people, put together the Lam Rim, the teachings in a way that we could access and practice, condense them into the graduated path to enlightenment, making point by point clear how to practice. So every time he created an action, negative action, or kind of recognized that he broke his vows, because even tantric vows, bodhisattva, very subtle, so it's easy to break. He carried around a stupa, a small stupa, and he would purify using the stupa, through the power of regret, the four powers, regret, refuge, regret, remedial action, and making a strong determination not to commit again. So he did that constantly to keep the mind in this light state, clear state. So his meditation would be always stay deep. So it's constantly keeping clear the environment of your mind, just like we keep our house clean. We need to keep the environment of the mind clean, through purification, through generating the regret, the kind of opponent to negative energy, karmas that we're creating day by day. It's the best way to take care of our heart, our mind, our being, for ourselves and others. And especially in light of this main point that karma increases if we don't take care, increases in the mental continuum. So let's imagine, we're not going to do Vajrasattva here, but for me, when I think about just this point of karma increasing, it's the main one in many ways that kind of inspires us to purify, gives us this impulse to purify. So imagine a ball of light above your crown, or it can be Vajrasattva if you can spontaneously manifest, and we know Vajrasattva. Develop a sense of regret. As much as possible, may I purify the negativities in my mind, the heavy ones. What's heaviest right now? Is it something through the speech, judgment, ill will through the mind? And this ball of light or Vajrasattva, just sending purifying energy, nectar, and cleansing our whole being, especially in the heart. The light coming from that ball of light and purifying into the heart, and just lightening up our karmic load spontaneously as we feel the need to purify a sense of regret for the heaviness we've created in the past, the heaviness of karma and actions. So just finish with that ball of light, filling up our whole heart. And just like His Holiness Lama Zoparim Sri Lama Atisha experience this lightness of the mind, imagine it fills your mind with light, and we feel that lightness in it, just as they do. And the light spreads to all beings, friends, family, all living beings as vast as space, purifying again their strong karmic habits and bringing them the joy and lightness that we can all experience once the mind's purified, these deep karmic habits. And we just dedicate all the positive energies, ourselves and all beings. We really recognize the need, start to understand karma, action, as being, of course, a cause of suffering, but also a cause of happiness. When we transform our minds into virtue, our actions into virtue, then we experience more and more happiness. So as well as purifying, may I in all beings experience the happiness through creating virtue and creating all the causes of happiness up to enlightenment. May we all connect with the pathway to be able to do that. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Venerable Angie. Thank you, everyone.